The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
2:30 in the morning! Oh, yeah, cats and kittens. Welcome back to The Commercial Break. I'm Bryan Green. This is my co-host and my dear friend, Chris and Joy Hoadley. Best to you, Krissy.
Best to you, Bryan.
And best to you out there in the podcast universe. Thanks for joining us. Here we are. I wanted to tell a story or share with you. See if you can remember this. I want to see if I can dredge this memory up from you.
Okay.
Do you remember when I think you were with us, I, our friend, a Russian friend, and a couple of other folks, including some of her friends, went for a birthday party up to a cabin. We had rented a cabin for the weekend.
I remember this because I was not there.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I heard the story when I got back. And I remember the reason I did not want to go, and that was because you guys were doing whitewater rafting.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't like whitewater rafting.
You were scared?
No, I'm not scared. I've done it before. I just don't like it.
Well, let me tell you.
You're bouncing around over there.
Yeah.
Water's flying all over.
Yeah, I've been a couple of times whitewater rafting. It's not as nervy. Like, this is not the Colorado River.
Yeah.
But we went to the place where they had the Olympics here in Georgia, where they had the whitewater rafting here in the Olympics. Class 5 rapids is what they say, blah, 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 blah. But it was not, to me, as nervy as I thought it might have been. I was expecting that we would really see some deep dives and big, throwing around. There was a few seconds of that.
Yeah.
But it was like that was the punctuation mark in an otherwise extremely boring trip down the river, right?
Yeah.
And there was 12 of us in this canoe, and I never forget, we were so hungover and starting drinking again. And then we got on this boat. And of course, there was no drinking on the boat because we had to pay attention to what we were doing. So we were all really looking just to get back to drinking. Right. It was like an irritation in our day. Hungover, ready to eat, not having any interest in this now that we knew. We brought the cooler. They just wouldn't let us take him with it. He's like, no, man, those things could hit you in the head.
Yeah.
Then we go through the 3 hours of instruction. If you should fall. Yeah, okay, all right. No one fell out of the boat except for when they purposefully flipped the raft. I think just to give you the excitement you were looking for. Yeah, the thrill you were looking for. But that's anticlimactic when you know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, now we're in the cold river. Let's get out. So we went for a birthday party, and it was one other guy, 4 girls, and me. So 2 guys, 4 girls. And there were a number of big cabin, lots of rooms in there. And I got a room way at the top, like in the attic of the place. Bryan got the attic room. But whatever, I don't care. We're here. We're having fun, whatever it is. In Georgia, this is not uncommon. And if you have mountains near your house, you've seen these before. These huge houses that look like log cabins, but they're not. They're really very nicely appointed places to stay. They're good Airbnbs. At that time, there wasn't Airbnb, but you could rent them from rental companies. And there are companies that own hundreds of these things up in the mountains of Georgia. So beautiful scenery.
It's fun.
It's fun. You usually just stay in the cabin and get shit hammered.
Yeah, play games, watch movies, listen to music.
Yes.
Get in the jacuzzi and rip down the shower curtain.
Beautiful open floor plan houses with nice kitchens. And then every basement has the same thing.
Cookout.
Pool table, arcade games, a grill, a jacuzzi, and a warning that there are bears. And so don't go out there. Be bear aware, as they say. Be bear aware. Because the bears will come, they will smell the food. You could get in trouble.
Yes.
We don't have grizzly bears here, but we have those black bears and the brown bears. They can be nuisances, essentially. But you'd certainly...
And those raccoons.
Oh, the raccoons are mean as shit. Yeah, they're cute as a button, but they are mean as shit.
Yeah, it's the whole thing with your trash, right?
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah, they usually have locks on them or something along those lines. You keep the trash inside until you absolutely need to put it outside. So we went to this cabin, got there on a Friday night. We just hit it hard. And I will never forget we were downstairs. Shots. Exactly.
Shots of vodka, if I remember correctly.
That's right. But Bryan's smarter than the average bear, no pun intended. And I only drink Bud Light. I stick with the Bud Light. I might do a shot, but I know that if I add hard liquor into the mix, I'm not gonna know how drunk I am. It's gonna come up on me really quickly. But that doesn't stop me from having 36 Bud Lights. And on the first night, there is a jacuzzi downstairs, outside the basement, on the lowest floor. There is a jacuzzi. Like a lot of these cabins, almost all of them have them. These jacuzzis that are usually 8 or 10 person jacuzzis, enough to have a nice party. So we get the jacuzzi going. We're drinking. Somebody's cooking a meal. We're downstairs in the basement. I will never forget the first time I ever heard the Lady Gaga song, rah, rah, ga, 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 la, is on MTV or whatever music, whatever video channel was on in one of these cable stations. It was playing, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Whatever that is, I'll take more of that. All that you got. I like that, Lady Gaga. But we all got into the jacuzzi, and because that's what you do.
As you do.
Well, it was me and this other guy and these 4 girls, and 2 of those girls had boob jobs, right? And as you do when you're young and you're drunk and you're having fun and you're in a jacuzzi, somehow the conversation always turns to sex, and somehow someone's always getting naked, right?
Yes.
So, of course, most of us disrobe at some point during the night, and that's just the way it is. So now we're all in various states of nudity in the jacuzzi, but nothing's happening. Nothing's going on, right?
Yeah, it's fun and playful.
That's right. Night ends, night wraps up, and it's just me and this other girl, friend of our friend, who had some of the largest fake boobs I have ever seen in my entire life on a very small frame, but they were large. And so we end up upstairs in my room that has a little balcony off of it, smoking cigarettes and talking through the night. And I thought it was a very nice conversation, but I didn't feel it was very amorous. It wasn't like I wanted to hook up with this. Like, it wasn't one of those conversations where all of a sudden you're making out. It wasn't romantic in any nature. It was just us talking. It was probably Bryan making up shit like I do here on the commercial break. Telling stories, making up facts.
I'm sure that it was.
Filling the void with whatever shenanigans are rolling around in my head. You know how I do, Krissy. I could talk for hours. Is it the truth? I don't know. Is it factual? I don't know.
There's
what does
some
it matter?
kernel of truth in there.
There's usually something there you can hang on to. There's usually some post of reality. It's like the North Pole. It's really hard to find, but it's up there somewhere. It's grounding us all. It's grounding all of our compasses somewhere. It moves around, but it's up there somewhere. It's a thing you can't see, but you know it's around, and it's helping guide the conversation. Yes, that's Bryan. That's what I do.
Now there's the truth.
That is the truth. I am a storyteller. Storytellers, we don't rely on the truth. What? It's boring. That's boring. Side note, Astrid comes in here the other night, and she's asking, she goes, that wedding story you told. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you got it wrong. And I said, what did I get wrong? And she goes, the wedding didn't start at 3:00. It started at noon. And I was like, and she was like, well, I just wonder if you remember some of these things. And I'm like, well, I do now that you're telling me, but what did I say? She said, you said 3 p.m. And I said, that could make a lick of difference in the conversation, like in the story that I was telling. Yeah. It had nothing to do with what time it was. It was long either way. If it started at noon or it started at 3, we were there for a long time. And she's like, I know, but sometimes I notice like you don't get the dates and the times right. And I said, I'm a storyteller. The dates and times are ancillary to what's actually going on.
You years ago.
No, who cares? Gives a shit. Gives a shit.
So you're spinning your tails up in the attic?
I'm spinning my tails up in the attic, and we're smoking cigarettes and we're having fun. And eventually we disperse for the night. Or I don't know if we disperse or if we spent the night in the same bed, but whatever. The point is, nothing happened. So, and I'm curious about what you think about this. So night number 2, we go do the whitewater rafting. We go into town to go do a little shopping, and then we come back and we do the same, rinse and repeat. Get shit-faced, eat some dinner, hang out in the jacuzzi. But this time, it's me and this girl that are left early in the night because everyone was, they were hungover and tired. They were tired from the day and they'd had enough. Shopping.
I'm what are y'all shopping for?
I don't know. Shitty $3 jewelry from the local, tourist trap. Yes, exactly. A magnet. Yeah. I was here. I whitewater rafted. The mountains are where I smile.
Right, there's plaques.
Yeah. I'm smiling because I'm in the mountains.
Right.
Right. Okay, all right. Congratulations, right?
Yes, totally. Little bear pepper, salt and pepper shaker.
Salt and pepper shaker, right. My dog is a wolf. Like stupid shit like that. Yes. Take me to my happy place, Blue Ridge, Georgia. Okay, all right. Lake life is great. All the shit you see on the walls of these rental cabins, like they just fill it with a bunch of tropes. Well, okay, I get it. The same thing with the beach,
True.
Life's
a beach.
Yeah, life's a beach. Yeah, it's hard to frown. It's hard to frown when the sun goes down at the beach.
And it's on a light preserver plaque.
You sure are happy.
There's so many.
I'm a shell of my former self.
At the beach.
At the beach. It's a whale of a good time. my morning, but my songbirds are dolphins. You know, all the stupid shit that they put all over those walls. Anyway, I don't know what we were shopping for. Who knows? I don't think I bought anything. I probably didn't have any money. But anyway, Bud Light, that's what I bought. I went shopping for Bud Light because I drank all of it the night before. Right. God forbid I be less than 10 Bud Lights in a fridge. I start panicking. I'm like, oh no, that's an hour worth of Bud Light. What do we do? What are you? Kroger. Piggly Wiggly up there. Piggly Wiggly. That's right.
Store.
Hey, listen, I'm not hating on a Piggly Wiggly.
No.
Yeah, I've seen a few that are Piggly Wiggly and Ingles. Those two is what you find up there in the mountains. I don't know why. They're the mountain stores.
They are.
The mountain stores. So rinse and repeat. So it's me and this girl in the jacuzzi at the end of the night. And for whatever reason, she starts talking about her boobs. You know, oh, I like my boobs. I got the dot. But I don't know what she's saying. I'm drunk. I don't know what she's saying. I'm not listening. I don't care. You know, we're listening to music. We're having fun. And she takes her top off and she starts asking me if I would feel her boobs because her boobs are the gummy bear boobs or whatever. And did they do a good job?
Yeah,
how
it's
does
a
it
special
feel?
type.
Yeah. So I start feeling her, you know, invited, of course. Invited to feel her breasts, of course. Why wouldn't you? I'm single. I'm not beholden to anybody. It's completely consensual. She's asking me. So just to be clear about this story, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I wasn't just feeling some girl up because she said I have gummy bear boobs. But I started feeling...
Yeah, I think a lot of women do that. You know, when you get a boob job, you're kind of proud of it. And how do they feel real? And you look at them and
you're proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're proud of them.
You spend a lot of money on them.
Yeah, sure, why not? And if it's someone that you trust and, you know, you're having fun and having a few drinks, why not? Yeah. And I had seen them the night before. So it wasn't like there was no mystery about it. This wasn't some big secret. So I started feeling her boobs, yada, yada, yada. Rinse and repeat upstairs again that night. More smoking cigarettes, more. But this time, she just has a towel wrapped around her waist while we're sitting up there, and so her boobs are just hanging out the entire night.
Okay,
a little strange, but okay. I'm not going to argue looking at tits all night long. Yeah, she did pay a lot of money for them. Great boob job. They looked real. I mean, they didn't look real, but you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. So there we are, the rest of the night, and then again, Bryan bores her to sleep. Bryan's story. It's story time with Bryan. And so we go to sleep. And by the way, I do remember this woman was a real intellectual. She was like someone who was very smart. She had a lot of conversation in her, and she knew what this wasn't some vapid conversation. We were like talking about like, you know, deep stuff, the stars and space and aliens and all this other stuff.
Right.
And she was an educated. So we were having a good, I thought, very meaty conversation. I remember it that way. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I remember it that way. I remember thinking, wow, you know, this is a smart conversation.
The conversation.
Yeah. And so, again, I remember specifically this time, we go to bed, we go to sleep, and she goes to bed naked, right?
Okay.
But there is no vibe under any... I mean, listen, if there was a vibe, I would feel it. I've got a vibe-dar for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And while I think it's been wrong a couple of times, I don't think it's been wrong often. I didn't feel any sort of, like, her... feeling any kind of attraction toward me. I understand she's naked, but you got to understand the premise of the whole weekend. It was kind of a naked weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of tits and ass.
Naked weekend in the woods.
That's right. We're all. My micro penis is now everybody's. It's no secret anymore. Everyone's just doing their thing, feeling. Not a lot of inhibition because we're all feeling comfortable with each other, except for me and this other guy had a huge swang, and now I got my little peepees hanging out. That's why I took my shorts off in the jacuzzi while it was bubbling, so no one could see. I proved to you that I can be naked.
It's bubbling.
Yes, because this guy took him, takes him off before he gets in, and I'm like, I would too if I had that. That is a baby arm right there. What are you doing? That is a whale dick. That is a pizzle. You got a pizzle. But it's just that kind of weekend. It's that kind of vibe. So at least in my state of intoxication, I don't find any of this to be particularly like strange. It's just what's going on this weekend, right? And I've been in far crazier situations than this. This is not weird to see a topless woman walking around the house and or walking around the room. So we go to sleep. I do remember she was nude. I do remember going to sleep. I do remember thinking for a few minutes, like, is this like are we having a vibe check here?
Right.
Is she inviting something that I'm just not picking up?
I could almost see that then. Yeah. Otherwise, it seems like maybe she would have found a T-shirt or something.
Something. You would have thought.
To indicate no.
Well, I think part of the conversation was, I sleep in the nude. That's what I do, right? So, she's like, either she's... But there's no other hints that are dropped that I pick up on. It's an intellectual conversation where we're smoking cigarettes and drinking. Her tits are out. That's right. Her tits are out. And then we go to sleep and she's in the nude. But nothing happens. I don't even think I touched the girl at night at all because I didn't feel like there was any kind of indication that was okay. That's what she wanted. That's what she was interested in. Next day, everybody separates, goes their own ways. And this girl and I had been texting on occasion, like not frequently, but on occasion. And like, I don't know, a week later, I text, hey, how you doing? You know, I had a fun time and no response. And then a text again,
boobs.
No response. What's that?
I
remember the boobs. Hey, how are your tits doing?
How are you?
Hey, how are your tits feeling? Do you need some help? How are you? Nothing. Nada.
No response.
Months later, I saw her at a party, an event, a party. And she was just kind of dismissive. And I was like, hey, what's up? You know, I texted you a few times and I didn't hear back. And she's like, well, you know, I just felt like, you know, you clearly weren't into me, so I didn't want to bother you. And I said, weren't into you? Like, how? And she's like, well, I just got the friend vibe. And so, you know, we had that night together and nothing happened. And I picked up what you were putting down. And I was like, what was I putting down? Like, I didn't pick up that vibe at all. Did I? I must have missed the cues. She's telling me I missed the cues. But would you have?
She was naked.
That's true.
That's
so you're saying that the first indication that a girl is into you is if she's naked in your bed.
I mean, it's a pretty good indication.
Put that in the old brain bank and remember it next time, Bryan. If she's naked in bed, well, then Astrid's got a lot of explaining to do. Or I have a lot of explaining to do to Astrid. Yeah, I just missed it. I missed it altogether.
You were being respectful.
I was always respectful.
You were.
I was always respectful. Listen, here's my piece of advice to the young men out there. Despite what other podcasters might tell you, other podcasters might say, respect is the ultimate flirtation. Period. End of sentence. No matter what the situation is, respect an invitation. Wait for the invitation. Ask for the invitation. Whatever you have to do, but always respect the boundaries. Even if there's a naked woman in your bed, doesn't necessarily always mean. It probably means she's into you, but it doesn't necessarily always mean that she's into you. Still, not 100% like welcoming. You can't assume anything, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's very true.
And I didn't assume anything. So therefore, I missed out on an opportunity with a attractive young woman. But we both ended up in better places.
Well, yeah.
I don't know where she ended up, but I ended up in a better place. I'm just assuming she ended up in a better place.
Think positively.
We didn't talk much after that, but that's okay. You know what? Onward and upward. There's my story about a naked cabin in the woods. Remember, kids, jacuzzis should be cleaned often. That's all I got to say. Let's take a break.
They have to.
And we'll be back. Let's catch up on a few television shows. I'm just talking to myself. Yeah. Let's catch up on a few television shows.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Paradise. You told me to watch Paradise. Were you the one who told me to watch Paradise?
Yes, I do like Paradise, but I have stopped watching. I watched the first 3, but then I stopped watching it because it was too hard to wait each week. So I'm going to wait till they build up.
Okay. All right. So I
have seen the first 3.
I watched the first episode in 10-minute chunks.
Did you like it?
I really liked the way in which the timing and tempo of it. I like the fact that it gets right into it. It's not a lot of backstory and 15 weeks of, this and that and the other thing. But I found at the end of the episode, I won't spoil it for anybody. I found at the end of the episode, I was a little disappointed in the whole plot twist. Like I thought it would be a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit more grounded in reality, I guess would be the right word to use. But
you mean the first episode?
The very first episode. Where you find out
yes,
exactly what's going on. I won't ruin it for anybody, but just know it's sci-fi, drama, mystery kind of thing going on involving a president in the Secret Service. So it's very well acted.
It really is.
Very well acted. Even the first episode, you're like, and those are usually the worst acted episodes of any season, of any show. It was so well done by the actors involved. I really enjoyed it. It kept me going, and I had to break it up into 4 different sessions because I can only get 10 minutes at a fucking time in this house to watch anything. But I do have to say, I'll give it a second and a third episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I was a little bummed out by where the direction it headed.
The second and the third are great.
Are they? Okay. Do we find out more? Is there more that's
There's more that's uncovered.
Do we understand a little bit more about why we're here and what we're doing?
A little bit more, from what I remember,
Okay. I'm going to give it a try, but I would suggest if you're into that like Lost type of television show, I guess, but much better acted and probably better directed. Paradise is right up your alley. I still think Severance is the best sci-fi television show that we're all watching right now. And if you're not watching Severance, you must watch Severance. And adjunct to that, I'm going to throw in another one that you must watch. Baylen Out Loud. Baylen Out Loud is one of the best television shows that's out there right now. I'm just saying.
It keeps flashing up on my Max.
Are you watching Baylen Out Loud?
I'm not, but it keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Okay. Just watch an episode. I know the first episode is going to be a little hard to watch because Baylen has one of the most severe cases of Tourette's syndrome, according to professionals that they have seen. And it is intense. She really has a hard time controlling what they call tics, her tics, right? And it goes from everything from facial movements and body movements to compulsive behaviors. And she has something called, I don't want to mess it up. I'm not going to say it, but there is a version of Tourette's, the one that we're probably all cartoonishly familiar with, which is people yelling out obscenities at any given time. Like, go fuck yourself, suck a dick, stuff like that.
That's right, yes.
Baylen has this, and it is apparently very rare for people to have this version of Tourette's. And she's one of the, whatever they say, 5 to 7% of people that have this, and she's got it bad. And the thing is that TLC, in their infinite wisdom, shows all of it, even when she's cussing. So I guess they've made an editorial decision that let's go ahead and show when she's saying the word dick or shit or fuck or whatever. Most of those come out without bleeping. So it's really intense. You get to see it. But Baylen herself is an absolute sweetheart. She's a doll face.
Yep.
And the show
What time does the show come on? Because it might be a thing with the timing. Because I've noticed that some shows I watch, definitely, that are on main network TV, do have a lot of cussing.
She's on at 10, so it's after Safe Harbor.
10.
But it's also a cable channel, so they can do what they want. They choose not to because they want the advertisers. But it doesn't seem like they're having a problem getting advertisers on Baylen Out Loud. I like this show. I like this girl.
You were excited about it before it started.
I am. And now, because let me share something with you in case you don't know something about the commercial break. I do like good television, but I like really bad television also. I'm into like the 90 Day Fiance, 600 Pound Life, like the series of television shows that usually come on TLC. It's just been a channel that I've enjoyed watching devolve into absolute shit show for the last 2 decades.
Somehow dragged me into
I know.
part of it.
It's not hard to get dragged into. Once you get sucked in, it's like a whirling dervish.
I know.
It just kind of brings you in. And some of the television shows are just fascinating looks at other people's lives. And while some of it, is manufactured drama, it's still drama that's interesting. I am over 90 Day Fiance boot camp or whatever
resort.
it is.
I'm done with it. I
Resort.
haven't even kept up with it. I'm like, I'm done.
These people are the thirstiest people on earth.
So bad.
Since the 2 hosts of the commercial break started in 2020. They're so thirsty. They really are. It is
horrible.
terrible. It is terrible. None of these relationships have a shot of making it. They are just there to collect a paycheck and have a nice 2-week vacation. I know it. I'm sure.
I saw that one woman's pregnant now with another man's baby.
Who?
The one from is she from Brazil?
Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Jasmine
Yes.
is pregnant with someone else's child?
Yes, I read that.
Drama drop. Drama drop right
Did
here.
you really think that those two were going to work out? No.
Yes, I actually did.
You thought they were.
It seemed like she was they were one of the couples that were actually doing things together.
Not to be.
Poor Gino. Gino and his hat and his bald head, his little tuft of hair hanging out.
I know.
You've got to know. Gino is he is one of a kind. And Jasmine is one of a kind. She is an explosive woman. Explosive. But she is nothing as bad as Natalie.
Oh,
Natalie, the Russian girl who is a Russian girl. She is insane. She is... There's no rhyme or reason to anything Natalie does. But I don't want to bore you all with that. I'm done with that.
Yeah,
I'm done with 90 Day Resort. I'm sticking with 90 Day Fiance or 90 Day the other way. One of those two. And there's a new season that's starting. And one of them has a thruple. It's a thruple 90-day fiance. Okay. How are they going to get him over here on a 90-day visa? I have no idea. If they're a thruple, unless two of them are American, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And they're bringing the third one over. But okay, you got me, TLC. You got me for another 3 episodes.
Another one that did that? What about or was that an actual show based
that was an
on
actual
people
show
trying to find a third?
Yes, My Sister Wives Seeking Sister Wives.
Yes.
Yeah, which that's still interesting. We're waiting for that show. But now I'm seeing there are commercials for new TLC programming. One of them is very small people. Like, I don't know what they have. It's not like the regular, like the Seven Little Johnstons type of dwarfism. It's like a different type.
Oh.
And there's 2 of them that are married, and they have a new television show. This is just Bryan just staring at other people's misfortune. I know that it is in some ways, but they are putting themselves out there, I assume, to humanize, to get a paycheck, to get a little bit of traction, maybe a little bit of fame. We all can assume that if you're on a reality show, you're looking for that kind of attention. And then additionally, I think to humanize in some way their condition or their lives, to say, hey, we are out here being people too, and we can do these things also. We can get married and fall in love. And that's Seven Little Johnstons is on like season number 27. Them. Yeah, I'm kind of getting over it a little bit, though, because it's the same thing every episode. And I've said this. It's so formulaic. It's the most formulaic of any TLC shows. I do love the Seven Little Johnstons. I really do. I mean, as people, I think that they're very interesting human beings.
Yeah, you wanted to be on the show.
I want them to come on the show.
But you wanted to be on their show.
Yes, and I want to go on their show. I want to be a part of it. Can I come on and make an appearance on the Seven Little Johnstons? I know you live close, so come on, let's do this. It's a collab. Is that what the kids are saying these days? Let's collab on something, Seven Little Johnstons. But the problem is, you got to break that formula of the show. Here it is. Some goofy game that the family plays, like a made-up, hey, today we're taking pictures for Instagram, so we decided to do a silly little dance. We're all learning a silly little dance. That takes up half the episode. Then there's some kind of drama. That drama's resolved, and then in the last 5 minutes of the show, new drama appears. That's it. And it's formula. Every time, you got to break that formula. We need sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what we need, Seven Little Johnstons. Get on it. Come on. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Somebody go to a strip club or something. That's what we need. Hey, invite me on the show. I got the answers for that, for all this formula.
Shake it up.
Yes, for sure. You got to shake it up. A lot of these kids, they're in their 20s now, so they can get to it. What are we doing? We're boozing. We're having fun. We're going to the strip club. Maybe we go to Vegas. We do some fun things, and but things that aren't necessarily like pre-planned and script. It's too scripted. But anyway, I will digress just for a second so that we can ask Krissy, what is your favorite television show that Bryan's not watching right now?
That Bryan's not watching. God, whenever you put me on the spot like this, I can't. I go blank, and there's a million of them that you're not watching that you should be.
Name one. Tina, what's a show you're watching? I'll ask Tina. I'll give you a minute to.
Did you do Lioness or Landman? I
want to
rather
see
quickly.
Both of those. I want to see Lioness and I want to see Landman, but they're both on Paramount Plus, and so
Amazon Prime. I watched mine on Prime.
But they give you but it's connected to Paramount Plus?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I watched them on Prime.
Yeah, you have to subscribe.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Lioness is a good one. You got 2 whole seasons you can just run right
I want to watch that one. I did watch Landman.
Yeah. Was Landman good?
Landman was good.
Okay.
Yeah. It was good.
I heard a lot of people talking about that first episode. They got very excited about it. I was just wondering if it managed to follow through on all the excitement it had produced.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
John Hamm's in that?
He is.
He is.
Yeah.
I love John Hamm.
I do too. Who doesn't?
I love John Hamm.
Did you watch all those Fargos?
I did watch all the Fargos. Yes, I've watched all the Fargo
shows.
A return to form this last season. A return to form. I really liked the first season. I kind of liked the second season. The season with Chris Rock was not my favorite season. It just kind of dragged a little bit. I thought the story was a little too forced. But then the fourth season, which I think is the last one with John Hamm.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Very good, yeah.
Have you watched The Hole? Is it The Hole? The one with but that's been out for so long. I think if you wanted to watch it, you could watch it. It's about a giant hole in the ground.
Okay.
It's literally about a giant hole in the ground. and it's starring that guy. Now I'm not gonna I'm gonna fucking forget his name. He was in No Country for Old Men, not Javier Bardem, but the other one. He's like a gruff. He's got a goatee. He talks like this, and he says he's got a really cool low voice. And he says, "Hey, someone done killed some drug dealers up on the ranch, and now I gotta go take care of it. So I need you to stay here. I got this bag of money." Remember No Country for Old Men?
Yeah, I do.
One
I
of the
love that
best
shows.
movies. Now everybody's looking.
Well, I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to remember what I just watched.
Okay,
I watched
hold on.
something.
No Country for Old Men cast.
Tommy Lee Jones.
No, but he was in that too.
Josh Brolin. Woody
Josh
Harrelson.
Brolin. So Josh Brolin starred in an Amazon Prime show that was so fucking good. Let's see here. Not Sicario. Sicario was good. I liked Sicario. I can't remember what television show he was in. Anyway, I'll remember it and I'll get to it. One of the things that I wanted to say that everybody has to watch while we're talking about television shows is Slow Horses on Apple TV.
I've seen all of that.
There's
It's
4
so
seasons
good.
of that now also, and every season
Yep.
is quick, to the point, and so well done.
That's really good.
And there has never been, I mean, the acting in Slow Horses is so incredible.
Gary Oldman.
Gary
Just so
Oldman
good.
was born to play this guy. He was born to play this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? I'm having a hard time with all the names today.
We're both having a hard
Yeah.
time.
Well, anyway, he was born to play this role. Born to play this role. And he is so good in this. Watch Slow Horses. So anyway, what'd you think of?
Silo. I just got done watching
Oh,
Silo.
that's right. You
and
told me
that's
about
really
Silo.
good.
Everyone's
Yes.
talking about Silo.
I loved Silo. I can't wait for the next one.
Haven't gotten into Silo. Can't wait for the next season.
Yeah.
For All Mankind is really what I'm excited to see.
Okay.
The next one of For All Mankind. We talked about that when I was watching it. I think there's 6 seasons, 4 or 5, 6 seasons of For All Mankind. So good.
Okay. I haven't watched that one.
You
I'll put that on the
gotta
list.
suspend disbelief for the first couple of episodes. It looks like it's a historical drama, and then all of a sudden it takes a right-hand turn, and you're like, wait, that's not how all this shit went down. Just follow it. It's an alternative historical drama. Like if things had been
Mankind.
different in the space race, what would have happened? It is so fucking good. And if you aren't thirsty for the next season by the time you get done with the established episodes that are out there, then you just don't like good TV. All right, let's take a break. And when we get back, Bryan will talk more shit. Okay, I wanted to mention a story that I read that all of us were talking about the other day on our group chat. You know, there is a woman, I won't mention her name here on the air, but there is a woman who was recently fired from her job as a police training officer because she was trying to make ends meet for her children by doing some racy photographs at night. She was on one of these websites where people can pay her to disrobe, essentially. And she got fired because the local town council found out about her moonlighting job. Even though there was no rules in the handbook about taking moonlighting jobs, as a matter of fact, many police officers moonlight in many different ways. They're Uber drivers, they're delivery drivers, they're security at concerts and at bars. I mean, those police officers aren't standing there doing work on behalf of the taxpayers. They are getting paid by the event producers, the bar, the facility, whatever, to stand there. Cops who direct traffic in the morning for schools or offices. They're doing that to make extra money, to make ends meet. That's one of the fringe benefits of being a police officer, is that it's likely you can pick up secondary work because people need you to do other work that's not taxpayer approved. This lady is just doing other work. And listen, whether or not you believe that, pornography should be a thing, let's put that aside for just 1 second. The lady is trying to feed her children, and she cannot do that on her police officer salary. The story goes she had an emergency at her house. A tree fell through her roof. She needed a new roof, or a hailstorm or a windstorm or something. She needed a new roof, and she couldn't afford it. So she took somebody up on their offer. Do. Yeah, as many people do. So she took somebody up on her offer to put out some photographs. And those photographs were racy. They were graphic. I saw some of them, like any pornography is. And who fucking cares? Okay. Yeah. So the training officer has some titty pics out there. What does it matter? It's 2025. This lady is a police officer. She is putting her life on the line every fucking day for other people, and she just needs to feed her children and have a new roof. Who cares how she does that as long as it's legal? If it's illegal, I get it. If she's selling weed on the side, I understand. You can't be a police officer and sell weed on the side. Though I did know a police officer who sold weed on the side.
Oh, yeah.
A Georgia State Patrol officer. I don't even want to, maybe I shouldn't say that. A police officer who was selling weed and doing cocaine at my house. And he was a Georgia State Patrol officer. Now, he was off the job. He was, not working at the time. So whatever's clever, it doesn't bother me one bit.
That would be really weird if he was in his uniform.
If he was in his uniform. He wasn't in his uniform, but he had his but he had his badge. And trust me, I was a little skeeved out by the whole thing. Somebody else brought him over to my house.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, did you just bring a cop that's got a badge on him?
Oh, my God.
He whipped out the badge to grab a credit card to cut the cocaine with. And I was like, oh, no, we're not doing this, are we? Because, that guy could, I don't know, he could flip on me. At any moment. It skeeved me out to the point where I didn't do anything, drugs in front of him. I was like, nah, this is a step too far. But I knew the guy. But whatever you do on your private time is your private time. I guess if it's illegal, you should probably uphold the law if you're having other people uphold the law. But the point is that this lady not being able to make ends meet and then getting fired for doing something perfectly legal, maybe not moral in your eyes, but perfectly legal to make ends meet is like the epitome of hypocrisy. We're allowing them to put their bodies on the line when we need them to, when they're the last line of defense or the first line of defense. We call their bodies into action, willing to sacrifice on the altar of public service. But when they want to use their bodies to make sure that they have food in their mouths, it's not okay. It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. Think of it what you will. Decide whether or not you want to watch pornography or look at these pictures. That's your choice. Absolutely. But it's your choice. Her choice is to try and make enough money to pay the rent. And I don't understand for the life of me how this is a problem. If she's a teacher, I get it. I totally understand it. If you're a teacher, you need to set a good example for the children. It's just part of the job requirements. There is some kind of expectation of morality. The kids could see the pictures, especially if you're a teacher of I guess if you're a teacher of any children. If you're a college professor, then I get it. The kids are old enough to understand that this is the way the world works. But if the kids are 10 and they're looking at nude photographs of you, then I can understand how that would be disruptive in class. And therefore, while I don't disagree with the methodology, I do agree that you need to have some kind of you need to toe the line in some way, shape, or form. Listen, let's all get over ourselves a little bit here. Do you know what I'm saying, Krissy? Let's get over ourselves and allow people to do what they need to do to make ends meet in 2025. It's a tough life. It's a tough life for everybody.
We're all doing the best we can.
Absolutely. And we need to be able to keep a roof over our heads and feed ourselves. And if that means that we have to go to footfinder.com and sell some sexy hairy toe pictures in order to make ends meet, well, that's what I'm going to do. You don't have any expectation that Bryan is not going to do pornography, do you? And I'm not putting my life on the line for you. It's really, really hypocritical to believe that this woman should never do anything you don't agree with if she's trying to make ends meet. That's all I got to say. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think, officers get a bad rap for good reason. There's a lot of shitty police officers out there, but there are probably many more who are just trying to make ends meet and really like public service. And the bad ones should be weeded out, and bad policing should be weeded out, and all that other stuff. I don't need to go over every single type of bad policing, but there are a lot of good police officers out there. One here in my hometown just lost their life.
Yeah, I know. That was so sad.
Just checking up on a suspicious person.
Yeah, at the grocery store.
Yeah, and the guy opened fire as soon as she opened the door. I think it was a she, if I'm not mistaken. It was a he.
Yeah.
He died instantly because some dude just opened fire. That's a tough job.
Yeah, no,
that's a tough job. Yeah, we should let our police officers do anything within the bounds of law to make sure that they live high on the hog. That's my opinion. And then we might get, better police officers. You know what I'm saying? They might be more inclined to do good police work if they know they don't have to struggle to make ends meet. It's just a theory that I have. It's like the Amazon guy throwing packages at my door. I understand. That job is tough. That's a tough fucking job.
Yes.
And Brian's ordering some random wire from Taiwan and needs it yesterday. And I'm, well, where's my shit? You know, and yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Okay, all right.
Bam.
I get it. I totally understand it.
I know. I get it too. We have
Yeah.
a little gate thing, and a lot of times they just leave the package just over the gate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, when we first moved here, the person who lived here before us said that she was an old lady, an old kook. And she said, "Oh, coot." And she said, she told the UPS and the FedEx drivers, "I don't want you coming to my front door because the dog barks
Oh, right.
and it bothers me. So leave it on the side of the house." And so for a year or two, whenever we got a package, it ended up wet on the side of the house, like in the mud, on the trash can, down the street. It was crazy. It was crazy. So finally I had to have a conversation with the guys. I'm like, "Hey, dudes,
We're okay.
Yeah.
Bring it to the door. Blue's going to bark no matter what.
Yeah,
so
I don't care.
We're used to it.
throw it at the door. Just get it somewhere close to the front of the house, and I'd be happy." I'm always like searching around the woods for my packages. Like that, did it blow over there, or did it go over there? And that also reminds me, like, there's the trash can people. The trash can people, the trash folks, they're lovely human beings, and I know that's got to be the most thankless job in the world. You got to sit in that stank, in that sweaty, hot mess during the summers and cold during the winters, flying on the back of that
Rain.
truck. Rain, all of it. I think about a day like today when it's just raining
Pouring.
cats and dogs, and you got to be on the back of that truck because today's our trash day. You got to be, hanging onto that truck, wet with all that sloppy garbage flying all over you. God, I could never do that job. But then they have this automatic,
Yes.
trash can machine that like grabs it and throws it up in the back. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah,
The
no,
arm
ours-
that just grabs it?
Ours has it too, yeah.
Well, the person who's driving the truck or doing the arm or whatever can't seem to find my driveway to save his life. All the way down the street, after trash day, you'll just see a row of trash cans out in the middle of this incredibly busy 2-lane street. People are honking, they're hitting the trash
I've
cans.
noticed it.
Yeah, you have? So being the good neighbor that I am, Brian, the good neighbor, I sometimes go down the street and pull the trash cans in just to make sure
Yeah,
that no one gets
it's
into an
nice.
accident. I'm
We
just
get the same thing on our street.
It's unbelievable.
They're all over the place.
I'm all about automation. Poor guy doesn't need to be sitting on the back of the truck, throwing the trash into my trash can. Fine. Go ahead. Use your arm. But could you do me a favor? Put it back where you found it, at least within a foot or 10 feet, not in the middle of the fucking street. People are literally getting into car accidents because they're trying to avoid my trash cans, driving way too fast down the street in front of my house. It really drives me crazy.
I bet it does.
Yeah, it does. All of us neighbors, we got
yeah.
a little WhatsApp group going on. Like, "Hey, dude, what's going on there?" I don't know. I took a picture of it the other day, but then I didn't send it in because I was like, these poor guys,
I
they
know,
already have
that's
enough
the thing.
fucking grief.
You're dealing with your trash.
Yeah, they already got to take my jizz napkins and throw them in the
Blues pee pads.
Blues pee pads. Yeah, there's no trash that smells like Brian's trash. Between the baby, my 21 EPMs, and the dog, it's a cesspool of germs and shit. Sorry, I'm really sorry. But I do appreciate the trash men. I certainly do. All these
100%,
people who
yes.
serve me, because I worked in the restaurant industry for so long, you have to get me really fired up to get me angry enough to call and complain. You really do have to get me very
me
fired
too.
up. I'm just not that guy. I'm not that fussy. I really am not. All right, well, listen. It's a little bit of a short episode, but, take it where you can get it. I got things to do. This isn't the only thing in my life.
You got to go get the trash can.
That's right. I got to go take nudie photographs to make ends meet. That's what I got to do. I got to put some highly graphic photographs of my taint out there to a guy named Dave.
I want those pictures now.
Sounds like Josh Brolin.
Give me more dick. Kiss me on my penis.
Kiss me.
Oh, kiss me. Oh, we were doing that 700 Club, and I was doing the voice of Pat Robertson. Like, kiss me on my penis.
That was disturbing. His hand. I can't stop thinking about the hand.
His whole presence.
Yeah.
His hand was like a skeleton, like coming out of the
Weird.
grave. Like, We're all headed in that direction,
I
by
know, which is
the way. Poor guy. Poor guy. All right, we didn't have a TCB infomercial this week, but go back and listen to Ari Shafir from last week. It was a great episode. A lot of people commented that they really enjoyed the conversation. It was not only funny and fun, but it was insightful. Mm-hmm. And I think that Ari has got a good head on his shoulders and a good perspective about what's going on in the world right now, and I can appreciate it.
I know. His podcast is great, too.
You be trippin'. There it is. His podcast is considerably better than this one, so go check it out. Of course, the people that come on are more famous. Except for Ari. Ari actually came on our show, so I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
It's like having Johnny Carson on. Yeah, he talks to a lot of famous people, but Johnny himself is a famous person. So there you go. Thanks, Ari. We appreciate it. See him in a couple of weeks. We're going to go see him live.
That's
We're
right.
super
I'm
excited about that. All right, check out arishafir.com for tour information. Check out America's Sweetheart on Netflix. I'll put the link in the show notes so you can just get there quickly. As far as we're concerned, 212-433-3TCB, 212-433-3822. Questions, comments, concerns, content ideas, or you can be on the show if you leave us a voicemail. You may be the next opening voice of the commercial break. Go ahead, touch base. At the commercial break on Instagram, TCB Podcast on TikTok, and tcbpodcast.com is our URL. All the audio, all the video right there, but you can catch the video at youtube.com/The Commercial Break. Same day the episodes air here on the audio feed. Okay, Krissy, that's all I can do for today.
I think so.
But I'll tell you that I love you.
And I love you.
I'll say best to you.
Best to you.
The best to you out there in the podcast universe. Until next time, Krissy and I do say, we will say, and we must say,
Goodbye.